Today's daily thought is about how I conceptualize aging. I drew a little diagram that can be seen at conquesthp.com under the post How I Conceptualize Aging. I'll try to link that below if I can remember. But basically, I bring up this topic because a lot of what I deal with in here, with treatment, with training, are issues that get blamed on aging. Just, my joints hurt and I turned 40 and all of a sudden they started being a problem, and that's just strictly because of aging. I think it's the wrong way to think about it. I think some things are absolutely inextricably linked with aging. Some things are things we can't affect, but there are lots of things that we can affect. And what people are really conflating here is the difference between aging and mileage, or just time passing. So if you start off with a bad trend, bad habit, something like that, a bad dietary habit, over the course of 5 days, it's not that big a deal. Over the course of 5 months, maybe it'll show up on the scale a little bit. Over the course of 20 years, that bad habit can become a bad lifestyle. It can become 50 pounds of body weight that you don't want. And we could put that down to aging. We could say it's because I got older, my metabolism slowed down, whatever it is. That's why my knees started hurting. It doesn't matter. We can blame that on aging if you want. But what really happened is you had a slightly negative trajectory and more time passed. That's it. So rather than blaming that on aging, we can look at this in a more empowering way. It doesn't really matter how old you are either. You might be listening to this and thinking, who cares? I'm 60 now. I've already had the 40 years of bad habits, so why try to change anything? It's absolutely still worth trying to change, because if these aren't things that you really worked on for 40 years, there's probably a ton of potential if you start working on it now. But really, instead of just using aging as a scapegoat or a cop-out, we can look at the actual process we're talking about, in this case, the bad dietary habit, and we can try to change that habit. And who knows, don't expect the moon and stars, but just change it and see what happens. And if something does change, then we can't blame those changes entirely on aging, those negative changes entirely on aging. So I think this is a more helpful way to conceptualize aging. There are absolutely some things that we can't change about aging and about getting older, but a lot of the problems that we face are just time passing and bad habits. All right, so you can check that out at conquesthp.com in the description below. I'll talk to you guys again soon.